I am making an update for my Red Dragon Archfiend deck since there's been a new ban list that affected it, and I didn't realize it, but Mates of the Master also gave it a little bit more support in the form of an anime card, so figured now would be a good time to go ahead and update the video, or the profile. Starting off with the monsters, I play 2 copies of Synchron Resonator. Synchron Resonator is just a free body while you control a synchron monster, or a synchro monster. I believe it has to be, it's a free body if there's a synchro monster on the field. I always get that wrong. I don't know why I think you have to control the synchro. But then if it goes from the field to the graveyard, I believe it has to be for synchro. So, nope, if it just goes from field to grave, you can take a resonator from your grave, other than another synchron resonator, and add it to your hand. Then next, I play 2 copies of Vision Resonator. Vision Resonator is a free body while you control a level 5 or higher dark monster. And then this card is sent to the graveyard. Then you can add a spell or trap from your deck to your hand that mentions a Red Dragon Archfiend. Next, I play 1 copy of Red Resonator. Red Resonator is usually in this deck for its effect when it's special summoned, where you can then, when it's special summoned, you can target 1 monster on the field. Or is it just gain... I have to remember how this is worded. Okay. You target 1 face-up monster on the field and gain life points equal to its attack points. Then I play 1 copy of Crimson Resonator. Crimson Resonator is a free body where you can show no monsters, but the effect you really want for it is its effect that if this card is summoned, while the only other monster you control is 1 Dark Dragon Synchro monster, then you can special summon 2 more Resonators from your deck. And then you can only use each effect of Crimson Resonator once per turn. Also, if you use any of its effects, then you are locked into Dark Dragon Synchros from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. And then I believe the Vision Resonator also locks you. Okay, no, Vision Resonator does not lock. But the Resonator that does lock is the 3 copies of Soul Resonator. Soul Resonator has the effect that when it's normal or special summoned, you can add a level 4 lower fiend monster from your deck to your hand. And then, if you use that effect, then you can't summon the extra except for Dark Dragon Synchro monsters. And then, its last effect is if you control Red Dragon Archfiend and a card or cards on your field be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. And then, there are 3 cards that probably should be in the deck that aren't. I'll go over what those are when I get to the... or once I get to where they would be, which isn't too far behind, actually. But ordinarily, I would also be playing 3 copies of Earthbound Prisoner Stone Sweeper, just because it's essentially 3 more copies of Soul Resonator. But those are currently my Earthbound deck, and I used to have a spare playset, but those got destroyed somehow, but... what I put in the deck instead of those for now is 1 copy of Creation Resonator. It's just a free body if you control level 8 or higher synchro monster. And then the other 2 cards I would take out, I will get to those when I would take out for 3 copies of Stone Sweeper once I get to those. Creation Resonator is 1, but it's just one I'm trying. It's just one I'm trying for now. Next, I'm also playing 1 copy of Red Lotus King Flame Crime. Flame Crime is what I would normally search with Soul Resonator if I already have the next target. But Flame Crime is a free body while you control a, level 3 or lower Fiend Tuner. If you control a Fiend Tuner, if your opponent controls a monster special summoned monster, it's a quick effect that activates in hand to summon itself. And then it has the effect on summon, where you can you can have the optional effect of being able to inflict 400 points of damage to your opponent for each fire monster you control. Hey, look at that. 2 fires. So it's another burn card for time, which this deck seems to do very well in time, as Red Resonator can increase your life points. Cards like Red Lotus King Flame Crime and Scarlight can burn. But Flame Crime's other effect is if it's sent to the graveyard for a synchro summon, you can send a normal trap from your deck to the grave, which that'll be the very last card of the main deck that I go over. And you can only use each effect of Red Lotus King Flame Crime once per turn. Next, I play 3 copies of Bone Archfiend. Bone Archfiend can be special summoned from your hand or graveyard by discarding 1 card once per turn. And then, once per turn, you can activate its effect targeting a monster you control. Send a Resonator from your deck to the graveyard to then either increase or decrease the target monster's level by 1. And then, that is it. And that's it for the actual Red Dragon Archfiend cards. Moving on to the Bystial part. I play 1 copy of Bystial Baldrake, 1 copy of Bystial Magnemite, and 1 copy of Bystial Druisworm. 2 of these 3 are... I'm only playing 1 because, well, you're only allowed 1. And that'd be these 2. Whereas Baldrake, I feel like it always has been a 1 of. But each of the level 6 Bystials share the effect that you can target a light or dark monster in either player's graveyard, banish that target, and if you do, you special summon this monster. And then if your opponent has a monster on the other side of the field, then this effect becomes a quick effect. And then after that, their effects are all unique. Where Baldrake, if your opponent special summons a, what was it, Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link. Let's see, Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link monster, or monsters. You contribute 1 other light or dark monster you control to then target 1 of those monsters and banish it. Magnemite has the effect that when it's summoned, you can activate its effect so that at the end of the turn, you can then add a dragon from deck to hand. And then Druisworm has the effect that when it leaves the field, then you get to target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls and send it to the graveyard. Next, I play 3 copies of Bystial Serenir. Serenir just has the effect that when it goes to the graveyard, you can send a Bystial or a branded continuous spell trap from your deck to the graveyard. And then all of their effects are hard once per turns. Next, I play 3 copies of the Bystial Lubellion. The Bystial Lubellion has the effect you can discard to add a Bystial other than another copy of Lubellion from your deck to your hand. And then you can special summon this card from your hand by attributing a level, what was it, 6 or higher? See, 6 or higher or 5 or higher? Level 6 or higher Dark Dragon. And then, once per turn, you can activate its effect, take a branded continuous spell trap from your deck and place it face up. And that's it for the monsters. Moving on to the spells. I play 1 copy of Scarlet Security. There's a Harpy's Feather Duster for if you control a Red Dragon Archfiend. And the best part is, since it does mention Red Dragon Archfiend, you can actually get the you can actually add Scarlet Security from to your hand from your deck or graveyard. I remember one game I was playing against someone playing Runic. I activated Scarlet Security. He went, okay, Solemn Strike. So I went, okay, great. Add it back to hand. Activate it again, because it's not once per turn for some reason. And then I play 1 copy of Branded Regained. Branded Regained has the effect that if a light or dark monster is banished, then you can target that one of those light or dark monsters that was banished, put it at the bottom of the owner's deck, and if you do, draw 1 card. And then it has the soft once per turn effect, so it's once per copy instead. You can only use that effect once per turn. That if your opponent normal or special summons a monster, you can special summon a bestial monster from your hand or graveyard. And then I play 1 copy of the new card, which is 1 copy of Soulfist. Soulfist has the effect that you can only equip it to a Dragon Synchro monster, so anything from the extra deck. And then Red Dragon Archfiend equipped with this card is unaffected by your opponent's monster or activated effects. So it just becomes immune to any effect that's not like a continuous effect, such as Gravity Bind or Baguska. But it does make it so that once per turn during your main phase, you can make the attack of all monsters your opponent currently controls become equal to the equipped monsters. So if it's equipped to Starlight, you can make them become 3,000. I think you might be able to see what this card is supposed to be doing. And let's see, after that, once per turn, when an attack is declared involving the equipped monster, you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and if you do, the equipped monster gains attack equal to that banished monster's until the end of this turn. So it's just meant to be used for Scarlight, which I honestly kind of really like. And the only reason I'm trying one of it instead of 3 is because it does mention Red Dragon Archfiend by name, so it is searchable off of Crimson Gaia and Vision Resonator. And then lastly, for the one-of cards, I play one copy of Chaos Space. Chaos Space in this deck just makes it so you can discard a Dark Monster to then add Lubellion from deck to hand. It then has the grave effect of you can banish it to put a monster that cannot be normal summoned or set at the bottom of the deck, and then you can drop one card. Which that would be Lubellion or any of your banished synchro monsters. And then next is the other two cards I would take out for the 2 more copies of Stone Sweeper, since the third one would have been Creation Resonator. I had to remember the name for a second. But that's 2 copies of Pot of Desires. Pot of Desires makes it so you can banish the top 10 cards of your deck face down to draw 2 more cards. And you can only activate 1 Pot of Desires per turn. I would play a third copy, but every time I've played 3 Desires in a deck, I've always drawn 2 Desires off of the first one. It does kind of start to get old after a while. And then next, I play 3 copies of Crimson Gaia. Crimson Gaia has the effect that during your main phase, you can add a Red Dragon Archfiend or a card that mentions it from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And then if a card on the field is destroyed, then you can special summon a Red Dragon Archfiend from your graveyard. And then if your Red Dragon Archfiend monster declares an attack, you can activate its effect, so that all your opponent's monsters are switched to defense position. I'll explain why that is actually kind of funny when I get to the extra deck. And then you can only use each effect of Crimson Gaia once per turn. Then next, I play 3 copies of Resonator Call. This lets you add a Resonator monster from deck to hand. Next, I play 3 copies of Return of the Dragon Lords. Return of the Dragon Lords just lets you target level 7 or 8 dragon in your graveyard and special summon it. So this is normally be bringing back a Red Dragon Archfiend monster. But I suppose it can also bring back Queebelt the Blade Dragon. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Well, I guess there are a few such scenarios. And then Return of the Dragon Lords also has the grave effect that if your dragon monster or monsters will be destroyed by battle or card effect, because I believe it's battle or card effect, then yeah, it is. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. And then lastly, I play 1 copy of Red Rain and 1 copy of Red Zone. Red Zone has the effect that if you control a Red Dragon Archfiend or a monster that mentions it, then when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. In order to use that effect, you do have to control a Red Dragon Archfiend or a monster that mentions it. And then its other effect does not require you to control a Red Dragon Archfiend, but that is, once per turn, you can target one of your Dark Dragon Synchro monsters that is banished, special summon it. Part of me did want to play Assault Synchro in this deck, just because with that effect, you could theoretically use the effect of Red Supernova Dragon 3 times in 1 turn, which I find absolutely hilarious. But I decided against doing that because that seems like a lot of work for something that probably would never happen. And then Red Rain is the card that you would normally be sending off of Red Lotus King, where it has the effect that if you control a level 8 or higher Synchro monster, you can banish all monsters on the field, except for the monsters on the field at the highest level. And then those monsters become unaffected by other card effects. And then if you Synchro Summon, let's see, if a Dark Dragon Synchro monster is Synchro Summoned while its card is in your graveyard, you can return it to your hand. And you can only use each effect of Red Rain once per turn. So what you normally do with that combo is you summon Soul Resonator. Soul Resonator gets Veilered or Impermed. But you already have the Lotus King in hand. So you activate its effect, summoning itself, and then you inflict 800 damage. You tune them for the first of the Synchro monsters from the extra deck. which will then bring back your Soul Resonator, and then Red Lotus sends Red Rain to the grave. Then you tune Soul Resonator with Red Rising, and you summon a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss with a Red Rain, so you can banish all monsters on the field that are not level 9 or level 8 or lower. And then Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss becomes unaffected by your opponent's card effects. And that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. For the extra deck, I play 3 copies of Red Rising Dragon. Red Rising Dragon has the effect that when it's synchro summoned, you can target a Resonator in your graveyard and special summon it. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard to target 2 level 1 tuner monsters from your graveyard and special summon them. Part of me does kind of want to take the Bystials out altogether and put in hand traps, such as Effect Veiler, just for that purpose, but I know it's a bad idea because the Bystials actually make the deck a little bit better than if it were just hand traps. And then next, I play 1 copy of Quibelt the Blade Dragon. Quibelt has the effect that if this card is synchro summoned, target a card on the field and destroy it. Or you can target, so it's not a mandatory thing, but it also has the effect that if this card is on the field, but I don't know why I keep trying to add is. If this card on the field is destroyed, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field, destroy that monster. Oh no, that monster just cannot. That monster cannot attack till the end of your opponent's turn. I don't know why I always think it's destroyed. It's not. But it's also just here because you can summon it if you can only make odd levels. Like every once in a while, you can't do anything besides make a level 7 synchro, which that's why Quibelt's here. I've actually had times when all I could do was make a level 7 synchro, and then I could just keep going from there. Such as, oh look, I have a level 7 synchro. Now I can special summon the Vision Resonator. Now I have an Abyss with Crimson Gaia, and I can keep going. But I'm honestly mainly just playing Quibelt because Quibelt is the best level 7 Dark Dragon synchro monster. As I believe there's only 2 other options, and neither one's really that good. Next, I play 1 copy of Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend has the effect that once per turn, you can destroy all other attack position monsters on the field. And however, the downside of this effect is that only Hot Red Dragon Archfiend can attack. Next, I play 1 copy of Scarred Dragon Archfiend. Scarred Dragon Archfiend has the effect that... Let's see, if you remember his name. Its name becomes Red Dragon Archfiend while on the field in the graveyard. And if this card leaves the field, then you can special summon a Red Dragon Archfiend from your extra deck. And then if it left the field because it was a synchro summon, you can then also destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls. So I believe it's attack position. It might just be all monsters your opponent controls. Okay, yeah. You can only use that effect of Scarred Dragon Archfiend per turn. Speaking of, I also play 1 copy of Red Dragon Archfiend. Red Dragon Archfiend has the effect that at the end of the damage step, or at the end of the battle phase, any of your monsters that didn't attack are destroyed. And then, if Red Dragon Archfiend attacks a monster in the defense position, then after damage calculation, it destroys all defense monsters your opponent controls. That is why Crimson Gaia has the effect to switch all your opponent's monsters to defense. Because if you have Red Dragon Archfiend and a couple other big dragons, which this deck is easily capable of doing, being able to just put all your monsters in defense and destroy them with 1 attack can actually give you the game. And then next, I play 3 copies of Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend. I genuinely believe that Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend is the best Red Dragon Archfiend, as it has the effect that once per turn you can activate its effect, so that it destroys all other special summoned effect monsters on the field that have attack less than or equal to its own. And then inflicts 500 points of damage for each monster that was destroyed by its effect. Also, its name becomes Red Dragon Archfiend while it's on the field or in the graveyard. That last part kind of matters. Next, I play 1 copy of Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. Abyss has the effect that once per turn you can target, as a quick effect, you can target one face up card your opponent controls, negates effects till the end of the turn. And then if it inflicts battle damage, then you can also activate its effect. So you can target a tuner in your graveyard and special summon it. You can only use each effect of Hot Red Retreat Abyss once per turn. Although one thing I actually do like about this card is that if you have multiple other monsters in play and your opponent just has something like Dark... You have a set card, your opponent activates Dark Ruler no more. If that actually ruins the... you have a bunch of other monsters in the gates, you can actually activate your trap in response, and then Abyss can activate its effect, targeting the Dark Ruler and negates effects. I only say that because it's kind of funny when... I remember correctly, yeah, you can also do the same thing with cards like Ultimate Slayer. Just, if your opponent has cards, it's like, oh, your opponent can't respond to monster effects, you have other cards you can use in response, and then Abyss can just laugh at it. And then next, I play one copy of Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane. Bane has the effect that once per turn, you contribute one monster you control, special summon a Red Dragon Archfiend monster from your graveyard. And then Bane inflicts battle damage, just like Abyss. You can special summon a tuner monster from your graveyard, but you also get to special summon a tuner monster from your deck that has the same level as that monster you summoned from the graveyard. And then next, I play one copy of Tyrant Red Dragon Archfiend. Tyrant Red Dragon Archfiend has the effect that once per turn, you can activate its effect to destroy all other cards on the field. Part of why Soul Resonator has its effect, because as long as you have this and a Red Dragon Archfiend, then you can just go, okay, great. My stuff is safe while your stuff is destroyed. And then it also has its other effect, which I personally don't think is very good. Which is, when your opponent if your opponent activates a trap card during the battle phase, that tells you how it's bad, then this card can negate, then Tyrant can negate the activation, destroy it, and then it gains 500 attack and just 500 attack points. I don't know why I always want to say 500 attack and defense, it's just attack it gains. Next, I play one copy of Bystial Dissipator. Dissipator has the effect that once per turn, you can target a dark or light monster that's banished and summon it to your field. And then when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can activate Dissipator's effect, target a banished card, shuffle it into the owner's deck, and then apply one or two effects depending on whose deck it got shuffled into. If it went to your deck, you destroy that monster. If it got shuffled into your opponent's deck, then you negate that monster's effect. And then lastly, I play one copy of Red Supernova Dragon. Red Supernova Dragon gains 500 attack for every tuner in your graveyard. I think it has a protection effect after that. Yeah, it can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects, and then once per turn, when opponent activates a monster effect or declares an attack, you can activate Red Supernova Dragon's effect to banish both itself and all cards your opponent controls, and then it returns to your field at the end of your opponent's next turn. Or at the end of your next turn, not your opponent's next turn. And the fun part of that is that it's not once per turn, so if you have Red Zone in play, then you can just bring Red Supernova Dragon right back. And you could do it again, because it's not once per turn for some reason. But that is it for my Red Dragon Archfiend deck profile. Like I said, I would play Stone Sweeper in the deck, but I would take out the 2 Pot of Desires and Creation Resonator for those 3, just because they're an additional copy of Soul Resonators, and so you would have 12 copies in your deck. And Soul Resonator is a 1-card combo with this deck. But if you have any ideas what I can do to improve the deck, any ideas for decks I see made in the future, or decks I like to see face each other, my friend is still working on a Stardust Dragon deck, so I can't do Red Dragon versus Stardust yet. But if you have any comments, comment below. I always read the comments. Thank you for watching.